Welcome to our show today. We are talking about mascara. And did you know that in the US alone, over 200 million plastic mascara containers are discarded every year. And most of all of those are not recyclable. And you know how I feel about things that are not recyclable. Where are they going? They're going in landfills. They probably don't break down, which is so typical. And according to Zero Waste Week data from 2018, more than 120 billion units of packaging are produced globally every year by the cosmetics industry. It is massive what they are producing, and it has to go somewhere eventually. So that contributes to the loss of 18 million acres of forest annually, which is more than half the size of New York State. So it has been estimated that less than 20% of all plastic is recycled globally, meaning up to 96 billion units of packaging from cosmetics alone end up in landfills, and unfortunately also in the ocean every year. So determined to provide a cleaner, safer world for her daughter and all future generations, Shannon, our guest today, set out to create a beauty brand that transcends waste reduction by eliminating waste altogether. And at Green Living Gurus, we love to interview people that are doing great things for our earth and creating products that are reusable and recyclable. So today we are here with owner of Izzy Zero Waste Mascara, which I have on today, by the way, and which are made of stainless steel. Great stainless steel. If you're watching live, I lost my mascara. It was here a second ago. Oh, here, right in front of me. Love it. Put it on today for the first time. And it comes in this great packaging, paper plastic packaging, not plastic. And it's the world's first fully reusable, sustainable, and direct-to-consumer beauty brand founded by Shannon Goldberg, whose mission is to change the beauty industry relationship with the environment by demonstrating that consumable does not have to mean disposable. So welcome, Shannon.
Thank you. That was such a good intro.
Oh, thanks. Well, you're the one that created it all. I just had to, well, you didn't create it all, but I had to just tell everybody how great it is that you're here with us today and who you are. And you're a millennial mom that wanted to provide your daughter M with a truly sustainable beauty option. And here we are talking about mascara, which is awesome. But you got here somehow. And I know you're coming to us from Tampa. I'm in Buffalo, New York. And Tampa is one of my all-time favorite cities. I go down there a lot. And I know you're originally from up north, but give us a little bit about your background, because I'm sure you've got a great story about how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I've always had a deep love for the beauty industry. I went to school at FIT. My degree's in cosmetic and fragrance marketing, and I've been in beauty for the last 15 years. So my work spans, usually within marketing and product development roles. Started out in TV shopping, worked with QVC and Shop NBC, and then took a little break to have my two kiddos, and then went back to work after a few years. Went back with Peter Thomas Roth Clinical Skincare, who has a pretty big distribution in terms of being everywhere in this beauty world. And then from there, got recruited to open up Madonna skincare brand, MDNA Skin, and had the pleasure of working with Madonna for a few years. And then got recruited to a role here in Tampa to head up the skincare and facial division for a major national med spa group. And just fell in love with the aesthetic side of that piece of the business. And unfortunately, like many people, I was furloughed 2 weeks after COVID was announced, and really just had that moment of, oh my goodness, I just moved my family from New York City to Tampa, Florida. And 3 months later, I lose my job. So I know I'm not alone there. So I'm not going to have one of those woe is me moments. But interestingly enough, I will say this, living in New York, and we live between Connecticut as well. I never really thought where my garbage was going. I know that I throw it away, and never really thought where away was. A lot of times it becomes out of sight, out of mind. We know our garbage ends up in China and Sri Lanka, all over the place, anywhere but here. But one thing I noticed when I moved my family to Tampa is One, we do a lot of back and forth commuting because my parents live in Palm Beach. And I noticed on one of our drives one day, as my daughter pointed out the window and was like, "Mommy, look at those beautiful mountains." And I looked and they weren't mountains, they were humongous landfills. And
Right.
Tampa, I mean, Florida's mountains are landfills, let's be honest.
Right.
And then because we do live on Tampa Bay and we go to the beach quite frequently, we notice how much plastic really truly is ending up in our oceans and washing up to the shore. And my daughter, she's so cute. Like in her pastime, she'll ask me if we can go to the beach and just collect garbage to, save the animal creatures. And it's very sweet. But that's really when I started to think. It was really during quarantine when we were all stuck on our phones reading. And I came across that article that you just cited, that in the beauty world, we go through 120 billion pieces of recyclable plastic a year. And I remember reading that and just being shook and being like, oh my gosh, for the last 15 years, I've been part of the problem. And to be honest, sustainability always felt like such a big word. I don't know if I really understood it. I know in marketing, a lot of times, beauty companies are blamed for greenwashing. And I would agree that that was probably me too, because I thought if I did one sustainable thing, then I could claim I'm a sustainable brand. And if we produce it a certain way, that puts us in the sustainable and clean category. But that's just not true. You can't just really approach sustainability and clean beauty as a piece of the business. You really have to take a holistic approach and understand from top to bottom what it really truly means to go zero waste, to be sustainable, and to be clean. So just the more I learned, I got hungry and super curious to think about a brand that really treated sustainability as a wheel, and understanding all of the spokes on that wheel and everything that we had to do as a startup business to be zero waste from the get-go, and really what that meant from conception to retail. So the idea was birthed during COVID. We launched the brand in about 9 months. Izzy launched on Earth Day this past April. But I cannot tell you how ignorant I felt as I approached the creation of Izzy, and how much I am still learning. And the truth is, in beauty, I know I mentioned my degree is in cosmetic and fragrance marketing. It's not like I came to this with an education in sustainability. And I know I am the face of most Americans. Most of us don't know, and we sort of consume what's ever in front of us. But the moment you get curious, my gosh, I cannot tell you how many brands are really starting to change the way we create and consume products across the board. So in beauty, in a world, not just beauty, but even food, plastic is ubiquitous. Right. I just knew that that was the biggest problem. And that was something that I felt most passionate about when we began Izzy.
I love that. I love that. And your children, because it's that next generation. We really need them to understand. I mean, the plastic has to go somewhere, and garbage has to go somewhere. Right. So, and you're right. So many people are it's just simple and easy. It's just one little container that you throw away in your garbage. But as we said, there's billions of these and all over the world. So that's a great story. So let's talk about Izzy a little bit, because I applied Izzy today for the first time and I was so excited about it. Putting it on, it went on so smoothly. Love it. Can't wait to just keep using it. But how did you come up with Izzy Zero Waste Beauty? And Izzy isn't a different name, so we'd like to know a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so Izzy is named after my co-founder, who's also the engineer of our products. His daughter, his 3-year-old daughter, is named Izzy. We felt like it was a great gender neutral name, but it was also what we felt. It's a name that represents the face of this next generation, Gen Z, who I just love because they're actually thinking about sustainability. They are advocating for the brands that align with their ethical values in terms of clean, sustainable, B Corp, charitable, you name it. So I just love that. And this brand was originally created for them. But to my surprise, what I love about Izzy is it's not about a demographic. It's not about how old you are or where you live. Sustainability is a mindset. So if you're thinking sustainably and if you want to consume sustainable and clean products, Izzy is really a product for everyone under the sun who is really approaching a more sustainable lifestyle, so to speak. Now, going back to when we started Izzy, it was right in the middle of the pandemic, masks were on, and I knew the lip category was down. People weren't wearing vibrant lipsticks, obviously, because the masks were on. So mascara felt like a super safe first product. Even if you're not wearing mascara every day, we all have our Zoom calls and our work meetings, and we all know mascara just does the trick, right? So mascara was also the hardest product to produce. So we felt like, let's just go for it first, see how we do, and take a stab at it. So I will show you the packaging is made from medical grade stainless steel. The idea for steel was actually taken from dentists and surgeons. So one thing we noticed when we were really thinking about material reduction and how we could get away from plastic was, what are other people using and what really does stand the test of time? Well, dentists and surgeons use stainless steel tools on multiple patients a day quite invasively. So how do they reuse them? They reuse them by putting them through rigorous triple medical cleanses to get rid of the microbials, the bacteria, the blood, whatever it is. And then they just reuse the tools. So that light bulb went off, and we were sort of like, hey, maybe we can start making components out of medical grade stainless steel. And maybe the idea is about reuse and refilling and putting our products through this, medical cleanse, making sure we get rid of absolutely everything before the product travels back to the client. And then the idea became, all right, well, how can we create a closed loop business? How can we make sure that every inch of this brand is reused? So that was super challenging in itself as well. I'll also tell you this. I personally felt in the beauty industry a few things. Sustainability in my head could never be sexy. It could never be cool. And I thought, all right, if we create this product, it's really going to be for like that tree hugger type, the person who's like really committed to sustainability. And I also felt like clean products didn't perform, but my goodness, was I wrong on both counts. So my very smart co-founder and engineer, Chris, he came up with this proprietary brush design that does all the things. It's flat, it's fat, it's wavy, it's curved. It really is like the unicorn of brushes. And then the formula itself is clean according to the Credo Clean standard, which feel free to Google. It's very stringent. Our mascaras are made from a blend of plant and flower waxes. So without fragrance, it may smell a little bit like jasmine wax. It does. But we wanted to make sure that the product performed as well. And then, I had to, even working in the beauty industry for 15 years, this was not a normal launch. So we had to think about like, how can we really implement a closed loop system? And then the idea came, well, this has to be a direct to consumer brand. So the theory was that the brand could work like this. Let's see how, if people take to it, see if it works. So far, so good. Another thing, I know I'm going on a tangent. There's just
you're okay. This is great.
Okay. So another thing, I mean, raise your hand. I know you're probably like me. During quarantine, was there a cardboard box ending up on your doorstep every single day? Yeah, I mean, us and everyone else. So that was another big problem for me is one, I felt kind of guilty about that. And then two, I felt my poor husband had to break down like several boxes a day. And I was just like, this isn't just me, this is everyone right now. So being super mindful about that, I was inspired by Rent the Runway. I just think they're so smart with their shippers. So we have reusable shippers. We walked away from cardboard, and there it is. This is the new one. So this one is going to be made for international use because
I love this.
Turns out Canada is very hungry for non-plastic cosmetics, which we could talk about later, but lots of bills being passed there, and Izzy's a great solution. But anyways, we wanted to walk away from cardboard, from plastic, from paper and print collateral, all the stuff that I would normally do, and just see like if we could really strip down to the bare minimum so you as a customer don't have anything to throw away. That was the whole goal. When we say zero waste, it means that nothing really needs to be going to landfills or oceans. Everything can be reused. So again, we launched in April as a direct-to-consumer brand. The idea is you order your mascara, the zero waste shipper ends up in your mailbox and comes with your mascara. And every 3 months, if you are a member with us, fresh mascara ends up on your doorstep. We chose 3 months because we did partner with an ophthalmologist out of LA who explained that you really should be rotating your clean mascaras every 3 months for a litany of reasons, but mostly for the repeat assault, as he said, from free radicals, bacterial and microbial buildup, and just to keep your mascara, the performance of it going. So mascara should be a little bit wet. It shouldn't be dry or flaky or clumpy. So with our automatic rotation, you have fresh mascara every 3 months. And once your new mascara shows up at your doorstep, you just take your old used mascara, put it back in the prepaid shipper, just stick it back in your mailbox. It's as simple as that.
So prepaid shipper, she's talking about this. It came with this prepaid shipping label, which I presume goes right in there, right? I put it in a little box, so it goes right in, you zip it up and you put it in the mailbox. That's as easy as, so your new one comes and you take the old one and just put it in there, and then they reuse it and recycle. So you're not throwing anything in the garbage, which is huge.
Yeah. And then the last two little things, I forgot to mention this, is that another interesting thing is most cosmetics have a plastic label on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we felt with stainless steel, maybe we could engrave all the important information. So we have the product name and description engraved here. And then on the bottom, we have our fancy QR code.
I was wondering about that. Okay, the QR code. I love that.
Yep. So all of your, you have to have this information on packaging to sort of cover your butt with the FDA, but the QR code leads back to our website where you can find all of the marketing facts, directions, and how to use.
I love that. This is such an exciting product. I have signed up for the subscription. It bothers me every 3 months. I do throw away my mascara, and I don't have to do that anymore. And I'm so happy because not only is it reusable, recyclable, but you are using great ingredients. And I know you are not using any PFAS chemicals, because this is not a waterproof mascara, but there's so many mascaras out there that have these PFAS chemicals in them. They're what are called forever chemicals, which are known to cause havoc on our health, and it gets into your system. So this is a all-round great product, not in so many different ways. So I'm so excited about this, and I can't tell you. And I put it on. I love the brush, and there were no little gobby, whatever you call those, the gobs, I don't know, clusters. Yeah. And it's a perfect black. So I love it. And you have different colors, I presume?
So we're actually working on a brown. We just started off with the black because, like I said, this launch was not normal. So we just had to make sure that people would actually sort of follow along and accept a brand like this. So now that we know there's an appetite for it out there, the plan is to launch brown and to launch a few more products. Again, we're zero waste, so we're not doing anything in excess. You're not going to see any sparkly eyeshadow palettes from us. It really is just like pared down basic stuff that I personally use day in, day out, which is just a handful of products. So we're really just trying to give the client everyday essentials that are pared down, minimalistic, but do the trick.
And they're working on some lip products, right?
Yes, we have a lip product coming out in January 6th to be exact. And when you buy multiple products with us, you can bundle and save. So we try to make it affordable as well.
That's awesome. I love it. This is so great. It's definitely going to shake the beauty industry and the cosmetic industry. And hopefully you will be so successful. And I'm glad that I'm part of your program, because I'm so excited to promote this to everybody else. So tell me, are there some things that's different about Izzy compared to other sustainable beauty options?
Yeah, so interesting. Again, came to sustainability as a complete novice. I really didn't know much. I knew how to launch a beauty product in a very normal fashion, but a sustainable product, not so much. So when it came time to research the current sustainable packaging options out there, I realized that a lot of them fall short. So one is the cardboard packaging. The problem with that, the main problem for me is just deforestation. And because we were also working on the launch of Izzy during the time that there were all those wildfires out in California, it just felt counterintuitive as a sustainable brand to take from paper sources. It just didn't make sense to me. Then there's another trend with refillables. So a lot of times with refillables, you'll be given one container, but then you're shipped more plastic refills, which that feels like it defeats the purpose as well. And those ultimately have to be thrown away. And then a lot of the packaging that claims to be biodegradable, I'm sure you know this because you know all about bad chemicals, but a lot of times you have to sort of scratch your head and say, well, what is biodegradable? What are those chemicals? And is it actually good for the planet? I don't know. In a lot of cases, it's just putting more chemicals into the earth. It feels like it can't be good. And then PCR plastic, as smart as it is, and it is smart to reuse plastic. The problem with PCR plastic is that it can only be recycled a few times before it ultimately ends back up in landfills. So it's good in theory in the beginning, but at the end of the day, it is recycled plastic that again, just doesn't ever degrade. So I'm not saying I'm the smartest person ever. I still have so much room to learn, but at least I know you'll get 10,000 uses out of this one, out of stainless steel.
I love it. I love the packaging. It just feels great in your hand. I just so excited about this. So excited for you. And no more plastic and that you have to be throwing away and reusing. So it's awesome. So zero waste. How does Izzy Zero Waste stack up to traditional beauty brands?
Yes. So I was super curious. When you launch a product, I knew personally that I loved it, but I was really curious to know if others would love it and accept it like I did. So we did run a consumer panel study, and I'm super excited to say that 93% of users agreed that our Izzy mascara stacked up to traditional prestige mascaras like Dior Show and Better Than Sex, that the clients were seeing the same results. And 98% said that they would buy it again, and that the sustainable and clean factor do stack up. They don't feel like there's a difference. So that for me was my biggest goal, was to make sure that you didn't feel like you were trading down just to choose a sustainable or a clean brand, that it was performing just like all the other mascaras that you would normally buy.
Now, when people want to, obviously you have a website and they can order right from the website at yourizzy.com, and this will be in the show notes, or Google Izzy Zero Waste Beauty. I'm positive there's nothing else named like that out there.
Yep.
Which is great. It's a name you can't forget, which is wonderful. And I know you're also on Instagram and also on Facebook too. Are you on? I can't remember.
Yeah, on Facebook. And we're also part of Amazon's new climate friendly pledge program. So there's not so many brands out there because, my goodness, let me tell you, in order to be certified carbon neutral, you really have to let the company, Natural Capital Partners, the ones who gave us that certification, you really have to let them behind the curtain, because they measure your entire brand from start to finish, your carbon footprint. They have to speak to your vendors. They interview everyone under the sun that touches your product in order to get that certification. So not many brands have it, but if you are looking at Amazon's climate friendly pledge program, that these brands really are walking the walk and talking the talk. Again, not many of them, but we're super proud to have that certification, just because we know so many people are shopping on Amazon anyways. I will also tell you this, to my surprise, Amazon has a great zero waste category. Who knew? So a lot of your everyday household essentials, cleaning products, beauty products, laundry, they have a ton of great brands to choose from.
That's great to know. Now, I can't remember, are you Made Safe certified too?
We are not Made Safe certified, but we were just part of the Made Safe. Raise the Green Bar.
Yes, which is where I met you. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, I know. And I love Made Safe. And I know it's a whole certification process you have to go through. Actually, someday I want my teas organics to be Made Safe certified. Because I just love what they are doing. So that's right. That's where we first met, and I'm looking forward to continuing a relationship with you, Shannon. Now, tell me, is there anything else you want to let people to know about the Izzy Zero Waste mascara?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I will say is that if you're anything like me, going zero waste is a complete journey, and zero waste doesn't have to be the goal. I think I know it's been said before, but the world doesn't need 1 million companies like Izzy or 1 million people like me or you. we really just need the everyday average person to start thinking more sustainably, to start changing their habits. Every time you go to buy something that would be traditionally packaged in plastic, is there another way? And chances are there are a ton of alternatives. I'd even love to hear from you. I know on your podcast or even on your Instagram, just choose this instead of that. I just think people need quick reminders and also quick solutions that they can just click to buy. But the easier we make it, the easier for the customer. I try to treat customers like my husband. He sort of like buys whatever's in his face. He's not really thinking if it's sustainable or good for you. So I think if more brands like me, if we drive the way and just include sustainability in our next brand launch or product launch, whatever it is, just making it easier for customers. And as a customer, to the people that are listening to this podcast, I would just say a lot of blame gets put on people. And I really do. I think me as someone in business, we actually have to take the responsibility. The retailers, they have to take the responsibility because again, people are just going to consume what's in front of them, whatever the best deal is, whatever is getting the most real estate in terms of where you're shopping, whatever is at eye level. So it's really up to us to drive the way. Of course, regular everyday people play a part, but I think if we make it easier, then you don't take the blame and we take the worry out of it for you.
That is such a great point because marketing is so in the consumer's face, but you really have to look deeper than what you're reading or what you're seeing on TV and turn it around and look at the label and look for products like Izzy. When you mentioned that before, I slowly am trying to reduce plastic all the time in our house and buy things that are not ever loaded with chemicals, trash bags that don't have fragrance on them, that are biodegradable. Recently, and this is something I have not even used yet, these are reusable face, you have the cotton wipes, they come in the plastic.
Yes, I love those.
Reusable. You wash them or rinse them and you put them back in here after they're dry. So you always have this, you don't have to. So think about the money, not only the money you're saving the garbage that you're putting in the garbage. And then this is an interesting one that I know people will be like, oh, but seriously, it's a Q-tip. It's a reusable Q-tip that you just wash. It's a rubber made, and it's got this these little things on them that collect, whatever's under your eye, your ears, whatever. So those are things. And as you said, it's just take baby steps. I'm still taking baby steps because we're all learning that we need to reduce plastic and we need to get, change things around here for the world and for the sustainable life that we all need to lead and leave our planet a cleaner and greener space when we leave this earth for the future generations. So Shannon, thanks so much. I really am so appreciative for what you are doing. I know what time and effort you have put into this, and I know how hard it is. I launched a product too, so I get it. And it's time, and it's your baby, and you're living, eating, sleeping, breathing it, and probably up in the middle of the night thinking of things.
Always.
always. So I really appreciate you coming on today, and I look forward to sharing this with everybody and staying in touch with you. And I really commend you for all that you're doing.